Hello beautiful souls, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're having a wonderful day or night whenever you are watching this. Right before I started to film this reading, or right before I started to set all this up, I felt a strong call to look at my tarot journal. And in that journal, I had actually kept channeled messages from whatever source wanted to come through, because I was planning on doing a reading for that. And I don't even know when I channeled these messages, but I felt very strongly, like I've opened that journal so many times over the last several months and I never saw it. So I don't even know when I did this, but I felt like it was strongly connected to this reading and I wanted to include it in this reading, but I'm feeling like I should have a separate reading for that. And just so it's like it gets its own special reading. So if you're interested in that, that's going to be going up after this one. Anyways, now let's get into this reading. So I know we're already in April, but I felt called to do this. So we're going to take the rest of April and then for May and June and see what is going to be happening for you in the next 3 months. To do this reading, we have 4 piles. I'm going to add the crystals and I'll be right back. Here I've added your crystals. For pile 1, we have this peach moonstone. For pile 2, we have this rose quartz. And for pile 3, we have this opalite heart. And for pile 4, we have this sheavling. Pick whichever pile number, or crystal is calling you most, and that is going to be your reading. Timestamps will be listed down below along with the decks that I use. That's always in the description box. And I do want to mention that all of these top tarot cards are ones that I shuffled the tarot deck and pulled off the top. So they may or may not apply to every single one of you. Take what messages resonate and leave the rest. Now let's get into this reading. Hello pile 1, how are you doing? Let me know in the comment section below. You've chosen this peach moonstone and I'm going to keep your crystal right here. If you are ready to embody your full Empress energy, check out Empress codes. The link is in the description box. And if you're interested in booking personal tarot readings or coaching calls, the link for that is also in the description box. And Empress codes is a journey of awakening and embodying your divine feminine essence and your energy, and reconnecting to your spirit. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, again, the link is in the description box. Now let's get into your cards. So this is the overarching theme and main focus of the next 3 months. I explained in the intro that I know like April is already halfway done, so we're going to be looking at the rest of April and May and June. So we have divination, clarity, asana, and it was reversed. We have throat chakra, unique gifts, trust, and it's also reversed, and 8 of swords. I'm going to lay this all out and I'll be right back. Hello pile 1, so I've laid out all your cards, and I also wanted to quickly mention that for some reason, every time I've been using this deck in the last 2 readings, I shuffle it and the Fool either ends up on the bottom, or when I split the deck, I'll see the Fool. For some reason with this deck in particular, I've been seeing the Fool a lot, and it's giving me the feeling that for those of you who are specifically drawn to this deck, there's like a new beginning on the horizon for you. Or like you're going through that right now and getting ready to enter something new. And maybe you've been doing like a lot of cleansing and you're finally getting ready to enter this new beginning. But it's literally just wild to me that it just keeps popping up. Now let's get into all of this. I feel like this next 3 months is really about you deepening the faith in your intuition and in your inner world. I feel like your inner world is definitely being highlighted over here. And for those of you who work with your intuition a lot, or maybe you do like psychic practices and things like that, I think over the next 3 months you're really strengthening that and working on those gifts and deepening your practice, deepening your intuitive practices. I feel like you might be, if you have like a business or something like that, like a tarot reading business or a tarot channel or something along those lines, I feel like you might start to notice growth in that. You may even start to notice that your readings are becoming far more accurate, and it's because you're deepening this connection to yourself. And for those of you who've been, maybe you've had a practice for a while, I think this is just about returning to some of the roots of those practices, like when you maybe first started to engage in these things. I feel like you might be exploring your roots a bit more and coming back to that. I think it's like you'll be coming back to the root of your practices and seeing it with a new lens, seeing it with a different eye, and I think that's going to help improve your practices right now. So for those of you who that does not apply, this is just you coming back to your inner world, really taking charge of your inner self and going through like a journey to build and strengthen your faith and trust in your intuition, in your inner desires, in your inner world in general, and in you. And if there have been any situations where you've been struggling to make a decision, or you've just been struggling in general, maybe some of you have been going through some like mental health struggles, I feel like you're going to be receiving the clarity for that and the help that you need. But even if it's not something like that, anything you've been struggling with, that situation is going to be highlighted over these next 3 months. And I feel like if you've been stuck on making a decision, you're going to be receiving the clarity that you need in order to make that decision and move forward. Because I'm really feeling like any decisions that you've been stuck on, they're being cleared over these next 3 months. And mostly it's because you've been tuning in, or you will be tuning in really heavily to your inner world and your intuition. And it's like, for many of you, I feel like your third eye is opening really strongly. I also feel like because we have throat chakra and this 8 of Swords here, and even with clarity, there seems to be a really significant and important conversation that's going to be happening over these next 3 months. And from that situation, or from that conversation, you'll be receiving a lot of enlightenment and understanding and clarity. Like, that conversation is going to bring you so much clarity on next steps, on next moves, on the situation. If it was like in terms of like a specific situation you've been dealing with, that conversation is going to be very revealing and very enlightening. And I'm specifically hearing that conversation for many of you may end up happening early May, but this is a general reading, so take what applies. I feel like that conversation is going to bring you some much needed answers. And I also wanted to read asana for you. Because it came reverse, I'm going to read the reverse meaning, but if you want to read the upright, you can. It's time to take to your mat. The mind has been in control for far too long, and it will never answer the questions of your soul's calling. To talk to the spirit, you must talk to its home, the body. The solutions are not outside of yourself, they're in the very temple you abide in. Through movement and breath, you create space between the inhales and the exhales to discover your truth. The mind will tell you stories until the end of time. The body cannot. If it's been a while since you've done any asana, yoga practice, consider this a request from the spirit, reminding you to come back home to yourself. So for some of you, I feel like over these next 3 months, like, take that as a message if you need it. But what I'm feeling like is over the next 3 months, you'll really be working to get out of your head and into your body. I feel like a lot of you will be dropping into your body, even with this unique gifts card, like this area, the orange circle, it's highlighting this area here. It's not highlighting the mind, it's highlighting the body. So I feel like you're really going to be stepping out of your mind, getting out of this like mental trap, and focusing more on your body, on getting movement. Some of you may be having a new exercise routine, or joining like a new exercise program, or working out more, or just taking more walks in nature, or just getting outside more. But I feel like by getting out of your head, you'll be able to see with greater clarity the needs of your body. So like if you're hungry, sometimes when we're really in our head, like if we're focused on a task with our mind, we can ignore our body's need for food. We can ignore our hunger. And when we step away from that, like if you've noticed you binge watched a TV show and then you turn it off and all of a sudden you're super hungry, that's because your mind has been so active that it's been suppressing the needs of your body. But once you tune into your body's needs, or you step away from your mind, you'll hear with greater clarity and see what your body needs. And I think that over this next 3 months, that's something that you will really be practicing or really be like heavily focusing on. So now let's take a look at the rest of April for you. I think I'll just get tarot. I was going to include an oracle card with this, but I'm feeling like just doing tarot. So let's see. Spirit, what's happening for pile 1 in the rest of April? That was quick. We have the 6 of Wands. Should I just... yeah, okay. And we have the Queen of Pentacles here with the Empress underneath that. Wow. But like I was saying in the beginning of this reading, if you do have a tarot channel or a spiritual channel, or like you have some type of public platform, I feel like the rest of April you're going to be growing that, and you're going to be gaining more recognition. You're going to be seen more. And even if you don't, I feel like over the remaining part of April, you're just going to be being seen more. You may be out and about more. You might notice that you're a little more busy, or you're in public areas more, like you might be going out more. I'm also feeling called to mention with this unique gifts card, I'm not sure if I mentioned it earlier, but I feel like over these next 3 months you're going to be really tapping into and discovering your own unique gifts. I think that this journey of like tapping into your inner eye, and even just returning to your spiritual practices, or returning to the root of what got you into these spiritual practices, is going to help to uncover another layer of unique gifts that you have within you. Yeah, anyways, coming back to this, for the rest of April, I feel like you're going to be being seen more, putting yourself out there. You're going to be interacting with a lot more people. I feel like the rest of April is going to be very social. You may even have some more events that you're attending, or you may have just more activity in your life. For some of you, you could be gaining a new level of recognition, or you could be gaining an award or something like that. You could be promoted as well with the 6 of Wands. That could sometimes be indicative of that. Specifically with this 6 of Wands here, it's like these 6 people have been working on, or maybe like incubating this egg, this dragon egg, and it's finally hatching. So if there's been a project that you've been working on, or something that you've really been like tending to, I feel like that's like hatching, and like you're seeing the baby come out, or like the that could literally be happening for some of you. But for many of you, I feel like this is, you're starting to see something that you were working on, something that was like just an idea that you've been working on building and growing. I think it's finally hatching, and you're going to start to see it grow. Excuse me, I had to sneeze. So I feel like that's confirmation for this message that just came through. And I was also thinking right when I had to sneeze about this Queen of Pentacles here, and how for some of you this could mean that like grounding your ideas, taking action on them, being more like rooted, and like we were saying, starting to move into your physical body and starting to root your ideas out will really help you with this. And even just having a little bit more like physical activity, even if that's like, I know not everybody can have that, but it could be to whatever level you're capable of doing. And for some of you, just being in the presence of like a garden or trees, that could be really helpful in grounding your ideas, in just helping you to like root things out for yourself. And it can even, like, even if you cannot have a lot of physical activity for whatever reason, if you are able to be in the presence of like trees and a garden and things like that, it will still help you to ground and move into your physical body. So you don't have to necessarily exercise. That, you know, if that works for you, do it. If it doesn't, don't. Let's see what's happening in May for you. Spirit, what is happening for pile 1 in May? What is happening for pile 1 in the month of May? Also, with the Queen of Pentacles, some of you might notice an increase in your finances or an increase in your income. What is happening for pile 1 in the month of May? So I'm thinking May might be a bit of a slower month for you, whereas April may have felt, wow, see, I'm not making this stuff up, okay? Like, this Fool just keeps following this deck around. It just, wow. Okay, so anyways, what I was saying is I feel like May might be a slower month. April may be very fast-paced, whereas May might slow down or just might steady out. In May, you may, oh my God. In the month of May, you might notice that the new beginning, if that applies to you, is really coming out and it's really being seen. Whatever you're working on in May is really leading to this new beginning. So then we have the 10 of Swords. Yeah, so like, I feel like in the month of May, that's when you're really closing out, fully, completely closing out any cycles that have been trailing you, and any burdens that you've been carrying, any mental heaviness that you've been carrying. You're like really closing that out in May. May is the month that you'll be doing that closing out work and that new beginning will start to show itself. So, you know, for some of you, it may not even take a long time. It may not even take the entirety of May to close this cycle out. Because this is the 10 of Swords, I'm feeling like it will happen it will happen in a mental shift. This is going to be like a mental shift that closes out this cycle for you. You'll really notice it in your mind. And maybe that's what we were saying about you moving into your body is all about, because I'm also starting to get hungry, and I'm thinking that as you start to move into your body, that's when this shift will happen, and that's when you're really going to see this this new beginning. It's also fascinating because under this we have the 10 of Wands. So the month of May is a heavy month about closing things out. Not that it's gonna be heavy. Like, for some of you it may feel heavier, for others of you it may not, but I really feel like in the month of May you're going to be having this shift. It seems much more subtle. The shift seems subtle but important and significant. So this shift that you're having in mindset is going to really flip things around for you. And you'll notice a lot of things being closed out in May. And for some of you, if you have a significant conversation that needs to be had, like I was saying, early May seems to be when that will happen. And I feel like this is confirming that. So it definitely seems like in May, you're going to be having a very significant conversation. And through that conversation, I don't feel like it's going to be very heavy for some of you. I feel like it's going to be enlightening, and you'll finally be able to put the baggage down. You'll finally be able to just have that clarity and have that peace that you needed, the answers that you needed, so that you can move on. And just, for some of you, gain the closure that you needed, if that applies, like apply it to your situation. But I really feel like in the month of May, you're going to get exactly what you need in order to close out your cycle, the cycle that you've been in. If you haven't been feeling like any mental fatigue or anything like that, I feel like the month of May is really about like anything that you may have been weighing on your mind, or that may have been like for some of you, if you have a lot of responsibilities at the moment, you may be juggling a lot of things. I feel like in this month of May, it's less about like the conversation and this and that. It's, although that could be helpful to some of you, it's more about like you're finally gaining the clarity you need to deal with your responsibilities to help manage your load. And so it's not so overwhelming to you. Now let's see what is happening in June. Spirit, what's happening for pile 1 in June? What is happening in June? The month of June. Wow, that is beautiful. And we have the Magician at the bottom. Pile 1, I love these next 3 months for you. These next 3 months, yeah, you're going to be closing things out, and yeah, it may come with like some challenges, but it's going to be beautiful and rewarding. Like there's just so much energy here about things being amazing and lighter, and like with this Magician here too, your manifestations are going to start to take root. I feel like you're really going to be noticing this in June. You're going to start to see the progress on things in June. When we said that you're building strength, your inner strength, and you're having faith and trust in yourself, you're going to see that in June. And if you have been maybe trying to work out, and you saw a little bit of progress, and you know, this could apply to anything, but that is the example that's coming through. But you saw a little bit of progress, and maybe things like aren't really steady, like it seems to be fluctuating. By June, things are going to be leveling out. Over the month of June, you're really learning to master your inner world, and that's impacting your outer world. And also, I feel like you're just being dedicated and showing up even when old habits want to resurface or old stories want to take like control. I feel like in those moments you're really holding on to your long-term goals instead of giving into the short-term things or like impulses. And like, for example, the example that's coming through is if you have a fitness goal and that inner resistance is coming up, or old habits and old stories are trying to come through, in June, you're saying no to those old parts of you and choosing consistency instead of those like short-term things, like I said. And I feel like this consistency, this commitment is really paying off in a huge way for you. I'm also noticing just now that in all 3 of these cards, somebody is sitting. Like all the people on these 3 cards are sitting. So I wonder if some of you work from home, or you have a desk job, and maybe that's why, or like you might tend to sit a lot, and maybe that's why there's this message here of getting outdoors and having some activity. And maybe over these next 3 months, that's exactly what you're focusing on. For others of you, if you are really active, maybe over these next 3 months you're taking a step back. Just apply what fits your situation. I feel like the month of June is going to be a really good month for you. I feel like you're going to feel good. For some of you, you may even be coming into union with somebody in specific, not like, I don't even mean that romantically, but I feel like you might be harmonizing with somebody else, or you might be meeting somebody, a friend, like you. There seems to be something here in June where you are like a significant individual, you're reconnecting with them, or you're connecting with somebody new. There's a connection here that seems important. All right, now let's look at this last deck for messages from Spirit. I do feel called to mention that lepidolite is a stone that really helps with sleep. So if you have found that sleeping has been a bit difficult, maybe you've had a lot of responsibilities. For some of you, if you have a child, like, you know, it's sometimes difficult to get the right amount of sleep with children. Those things I feel like Spirit wants you to really work on, and is encouraging you to try and find ways to help release the mental burdens so you can get some proper sleep and rest. Because if your mind is overactive, even if you're sleeping, you may not be feeling well rested. So Spirit, what final message would you like to give pile 1 before we close this reading for the next 3 months? What last message would you like to give pile 1? Oh, we have black tourmaline. And obsidian at the bottom. I actually have my obsidian. It's over there, so I won't be getting it right now. But I feel like you may also just need to protect your energy at the time, in this moment, or even during these next 3 months. Just be sure that when you come into contact with others, or as you especially if you have a tarot business or like a spiritual practice that you're doing for others, it is so important to cleanse your energy and to protect your energy. So be sure that you're taking time to do that. Wow, I'm also just noticing that there's a 10 on this card, and we were talking about this 10 of swords and then the 10 of wands that popped up as well. So this, I feel like this message will really hit you in the month of May, but you're closing things out. Like, you're literally on the brink of closing this old stuff out, whatever that old stuff was for you, and you're about ready to enter something new. So definitely during this time, it's important to keep yourself protected and keep yourself cleansed of other people's energy, so you're not carrying baggage with you into this new beginning. Healthy boundaries, repelling and dispelling unwanted energies, shielding and protection, healthy interdependence. There's a saying that good fences make good neighbors. Well-being likewise requires healthy boundaries that respect everyone's uniqueness, similarities, and differences. The appearance of black tourmaline spirit is a sign that now is the time to make sure those fences are neither impenetrable walls nor so porous and broken down that you start to lose track of where you end and others begin. It's invigorating to move between alone time and together time. Maybe you need to be with some extroverts for a while, or maybe you need a long evening alone with a good book. If you've been feeling tired lately, pay attention to whether you're neglecting yourself at some level, giving too much, suffering from empathy overload, or depending too much on someone else and crowding them. You may need some downtime to remind you that you are a human being, not a human doing. Okay, that's powerful. You do not have to earn love through perpetual self-sacrifice, nor do you have to feel overwhelmed and needy. Healthy boundaries mean leaning on others in a balanced way, and black tourmaline spirit is here to nudge you to be mindful of when you need time to yourself and when you need to be among those who accept you exactly as you are. Black tourmaline is an incredibly valuable stone for sensitives, empaths, and anyone susceptible to absorbing the energy of others. When carried or worn on the body, it works industriously to capture incoming energy that is less than desirable and transmute it into usable energy. When used in meditation, it helps work through old stuff from a neutral perspective, allowing us to keep the wheat and discard the chaff. So pile 1, this is where I'm going to leave your reading. Thank you so much for allowing me to do this reading for you, and thank you so much for being here. If this reading resonated, like the video and subscribe if you haven't already. I'm sending you lots of love and light, and I'll catch you in another video or reading. Bye. Hello, pile 2. How are you doing? Let me know in the comment section below. You've chosen this rose quartz crystal, and I'm going to keep it right here. And if you are interested in embodying your full Empress energy, then Empress Codes is for you. The link is in the description box. If you're interested, check it out. And if you wanted to book personal tarot readings or coaching calls, the link for that is also in the description box. So this is going to be the overarching theme and main focus of the next 3 months, or April, the rest of April and May and June. So let's see, we have judgment here, strength, alignment, bhakti, dhumavati, karma, and continuance. I'm going to lay all this out and I'll be right back. So pile 2, I've laid out all your cards. And while I was tapping in, I totally forgot to mention this, but while I was tapping into your energy, the first thing that I kept seeing was the image of a beach. And so I know I'm using this Mermaid Tarot deck for you, and maybe that's why, but for many of you, I'm feeling like the beach or a body of water is somehow really significant to the next 3 months for you. And I was also getting this feeling of procrastination, so I wonder if over these next 3 months, you're going to be working through any procrastination. I'm feeling a very clear like storyline almost with your reading. Over these next 3 months, you're going through this shedding process of letting things go and really focusing on moving on from the past. And this doesn't even have to be like a big shedding process. This could be decluttering. This could be letting go of old baggage, like take what applies to your situation. But I do feel like you're going to be really focusing on moving on from the past or moving on from any past disappointments and building this resilience and this strength within you. I think you're focusing on building inner strength, but also for some of you, you could be strength training or working out, exercising, something like that. And maybe if that's the case, you letting go of like an old lifestyle or an old habit or routine that is no longer serving you or your new goals and desires. Really, for many of you, I feel like you're releasing an old way of doing something or an old lifestyle. And you're coming into alignment, like this alignment card, and then Bhakti. Bhakti is prayer, but on the Bhakti card too, you have these 3 butterflies all in alignment, and then you have the alignment card here. So that's giving me the feeling that you're coming into alignment with yourself and with your goals, like your current goals, your new desires, whatever it is that you want now, you're coming into alignment with that over the next 3 months. And you're moving away from anything that you no longer want in your life or anything that you no longer want to continue carrying moving forward. And I feel like over these next 3 months, you're really figuring out a good routine that works for you and sticking with it. Like this continuance card is giving me the feeling that you're figuring out a routine that's going to serve you here and now. And you're sticking through with it over these next 3 months. So like, I feel like a lot of this releasing is happening early on, and that might be something you're already going through right now. And if that's the case, then as you move through May and June, you'll really start to see you come into alignment with the new vision that you have or the new goals that you have. And as the months progress, I feel like you'll just get into a really good routine or rhythm and you'll stick with it. Like things are going to continue being good or continue being in alignment as you move through, especially I'm hearing as you move through the later parts of May and June even. I feel like that's when you're really going to start to notice this alignment happening for you and this continuing, this good feeling. And with the karma card here too, our karma is usually just the reaction to our actions. It's not always like this big heavy thing. So whatever actions you're taking, you're going to start to notice results during these next 3 months. And any past actions or any past baggage that you may have been carrying on, like we said, you're going to be releasing that, because Dhumavati is all about letting go of the past, letting go of past cycles, because her name literally means she who has smoke or she of smoke. Dhuma means smoke. And so the smoke is meant to represent the aftermath of destruction. And in your case, I feel like the smoke is clearing for you and new things are taking root. And even if it's not something new per se, it's like an evolution of something you've been working on, or a process that's created more space in your life for the desires you have. Like I said, the storyline that is here is like you're letting go of old things, you're coming into alignment with your new goals and your new vision, and you can apply this to anything really, whatever it is that you're working on or whatever new goals and visions you have for yourself. I just heard a car honk, so that's confirmation. And And then once you come into alignment, it seems like that alignment is going to remain pretty steady and consistent with this continuance card. So let's get into what's happening the rest of April, but yours seems pretty straightforward. We do have the Nine of Pentacles here at the bottom, so I feel like you may tend to notice that you're a little bit independent in this next 3 months, that I want to keep saying the next month. So maybe this doesn't extend, like this independence doesn't extend over all of the next 3 months. It may just be over the next month. Take what applies to your situation, but I feel like you may notice that you're a little bit more independent. Some of you might, with this Judgment card, be coming out of your shell a little bit more. You might be having a breakthrough moment in these next 3 months. You might be having a breakthrough moment, and that, I feel like, is either a result of all the work that you've been putting in, or it's happening, and through that breakthrough, you're building a lot of strength and resilience. Let's see, Spirit, what's happening for pile 2 in the rest of April? What is happening for pile 2 in the rest of April? Wow, I love this. We have the 10 of Pentacles and the 10 of Cups at the bottom of the deck. Wow. There's a lot of good things happening in the rest of April for you. I feel like the rest of April is going pretty smoothly and pretty, like, there's a lot of stability here. You know, I was feeling this alone energy, like you might be a bit more independent, but with this 10 of Pentacles, I'm getting the sense that through April, even if you are independent, I think you're going to be spending a good amount of time with family and with close ones, people that you care about and that you love. And again, because we have double 10s coming out, this seems to me that whatever closing out work that we were talking about is happening here in April. Like, it seems like you're already doing those things and you're closing those things out in April. And because these 10s are the Pentacles and the Cups, those are two of the more like lucky and happy cards in the minor arcana. So I feel like this closing out isn't exactly a tough process, or it's not one that's really heavy. It seems to be one that is actually lightening you and making you feel even better, especially emotionally. I feel like there's a lot of emotional release, but it's like emotional release in a good way. I'm also hearing that the rest of April you may tend to be a little bit more busy, or your time might be diversified in different areas, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. But I'm also hearing for some of you that the rest of April you're really letting go of any ancestral patterns, that especially around finances, any ancestral patterns around finances that you may have been holding on to, or that you may have noticed circulating in your life. I feel like the rest of April you're going to be focusing on releasing that, removing that, and moving on from that. So just to summarize, the rest of April, your focus seems to be on family, on bringing awareness to where you invest your time and money, balancing work and rest, closing any past money habits, closing out a cycle in a way that is aligned and easy, and enjoying what you have and enjoying your time. I also want to say that there may be some really good food that you're trying, or like food seems to be significant as well. So let's see what is happening in the rest, or what's happening in May for you. Spirit, what is happening in the month of May for pile 2? What is happening in the month of May? Thank you. I also want to say that your cards have been coming out really quickly. So I feel like a lot of this, whatever is happening for you is happening rather quickly. Like, although we do have the Pentacles here, and Pentacles are slower. So even if things are moving slowly, I don't feel like it's going to feel slow. I feel like you may start to notice that things are like the time might just run quickly, or you might notice that time is running out quickly, and something along those lines. We have the 6 of Cups here for May. I feel like in May you're having a little bit more fun. I think you're going to be reconnecting with your inner child, or if you have children, I feel like you're going to be spending a lot of time with your children. And maybe for some of you, you might be having a vacation in June. It may seem a little bit unexpected for some of you, but for many of you, I'm feeling like you're going to be really reconnecting to play and fun and just having a little bit more leisure. And because the Six of Cups does deal with soulmates, and I do want to like give all the things that are coming through here, for some of you, this could mean that you're focusing on a soulmate, if you're like in union with one, or that you're meeting somebody who feels like a soulmate. You could also, like, sometimes the Six of Cups can speak of somebody from the past. So you may be dealing with the past situation, and which kind of makes sense with what we were seeing with your cards about releasing the past. So maybe in the month of May, you'll be releasing somebody from your past, or releasing baggage, anything you've been carrying from your past. Although, again, your energy seems a lot lighter, so I don't feel like this is happening in a heavy way. I feel like this is honestly a very light and playful thing. We do have the Queen of Pentacles, wow, and the Queen of Swords underneath that, with the Nine of Cups underneath that. Okay, that's beautiful. So with all of this Queen energy coming through, I feel like in the month of May, you're going to be focusing on taking care of yourself and integrating anything like, ooh, that fits so well. I feel like it's in the month of May that you're really going to start to come into alignment with yourself and integrate any lessons you've learned and anything like that to help you moving forward. And so you can create a routine or whatever you need to serve you now. And I feel like also with this Judgment card and the Six of Cups here, there's this message coming through that you're becoming far more authentic to your true self. Like, you're allowing your true self to come forward, and you're no longer going to be afraid of judgment. I feel like you're allowing your true self to be seen regardless of this fear of judgment, and not really allowing the opinions or judgments of others to cast shadows over you. Like, you're not really allowing that to faze you. It also seems like over these next 3 months, your family is also being highlighted. So I feel like you're either going to be spending a lot of time with family or friends or loved ones, or you're going to be clearing out a lot of baggage from your families, like your ancestry and your lineage, or both. And that is going to be very freeing for you. Like, you're going to finally feel like you are your own person. Like, you don't have to walk around as a collage of all of your family members, but rather you are now your own person truly. That message is coming through here. So let's see what is happening in June for you. Spirit, what is happening for pile 2 in the month of June? Wow. The Chariot. Wow, I love that. And the Nine of Pentacles. This card seems to keep wanting to pop up in your reading. I feel like over these next 3 months, you are being very consistent, and I think your finances are kind of stabilizing. For some of you, this could look like an increase, but what I'm really feeling here is that things are stabilizing. With the Chariot here, for some of you in June, you could be traveling. You could be going on a road trip or something like that. Some of you might even be getting a new car in June. That's what I'm hearing with this. You could be purchasing a new car, or there is like an opportunity here to purchase a new car, or something with your car. Your mode of transportation could be changing or improving and upgrading in the month of June. And some of you could just be cleaning your car. That's something I'm hearing too. Take what applies to your situation. But there could be like a significant move that you're planning. There's a heavy focus on traveling, on expanding and exploring more, expanding your horizons, seeing more things, or trying new things even. There's like this heavy emphasis and focus on that and vehicles or modes of transportation. And again, alignment. The Chariot is also about alignment. So I feel like in June, you're going to feel very aligned. And you may even notice that things are kind of flowing in a little more easier for you, or that there's this, like, you're entering the state of flow in the month of June, where things again seem to be pretty steady and things are flowing pretty well for you. And maybe that's when you're really noticing your independence, because we do have the Nine of Pentacles underneath that. So like, while the first part, like, so April and May might be a little more dedicated to other people or focused on others, your family, your kids, your friends, things like that. I feel like June, you might be doing a little more things for yourself, or the focus is, it's not that you're not focusing on others, but I feel like you're returning back to yourself in June. Like you're returning back to focusing on your needs, on traveling, on trying new things and exploring, and just focusing in on what you need to be doing. Yeah, I feel like pile 2, your messages have come through pretty smoothly, and like it's been pretty quick. So I feel like these next 3 months are gonna go by pretty quickly, but it's not, I don't see like this wave of ups and downs or anything like that. I feel like these next 3 months are gonna be pretty smooth sailing for you, and it doesn't seem like there's a whole lot of drastic change or anything like that happening. It just seems like things are gonna be pretty quick and flowing pretty smoothly. So let's get your last message from Spirit. Spirit, what last message would you like to give? Pile 2. Let me make sure my camera's on. Okay. Because I have done that before where my camera was off and I was unaware of that. So Spirit, what final message would you like to give? Pile 2. What final message would you like to give? Pile 2. I'm also just hearing that you're freeing yourself from anybody or anything that was chaining you down. Like, I'm getting this image right now in my mind of like a chain around your hand, and that is being broken and it's breaking off. So that might not apply for all of you, but for some of you, there's this really strong message coming through right now of that chain breaking in these next 3 months. Maybe specifically in June, but it could happen at any point, just if that applies. So Spirit, what final message would you like to give? Pile 2. Whoa. Dalmatian stone. Wow, this is reminding me of this Bhakti card and this alignment card. You have these 3 stones like in perfect alignment with each other. So I feel like this is affirming or like confirming that message that this month, these next 3 months are really going to be about alignment, of figuring out what works and what doesn't in order to find that alignment. And maybe that's the thing too with this Chariot that you're figuring out, is like what works for me, what doesn't work for me, what changes do I need to make, what changes aren't working, and like how can I get to my goals. Like I feel like that's a very big focus, and it seems like Spirit is emphasizing to continue that. If that's something that you've been working on, then continue that little, like that process of, I'm hearing tinkering, of like figuring out really what works and what doesn't. This is actually reminding me of a reading that I believe Kino Tarot did recently. Some of those messages are coming through. So if you saw that, then maybe this is confirming that for you, that these next 3 months, like you're really heavily focusing on that. And that's where you're like being guided to focus on. 19 is also sun energy. So some of you may need more sunlight, or you might be getting a lot more sunlight. We have Dalmatian stone, playfulness, childlike joy and enthusiasm for life, absurdity, humor, and laughter. Watch children playing and you are watching them learn. Serious though life may seem at times, Dalmatian stone spirit is calling you to embrace the absurdity of this world, to laugh and find humor in the everyday experiences that might otherwise frustrate you. All of us are here to learn, and laughter makes the lesson easier, and sometimes it even makes it stick a little better, for it can help you write a funny story to tell again and again. Remember that time? Boy, did I learn my lesson. Now is a good moment to crack a joke, to break the tension, and remind yourself that alongside trouble and hardship dances a spirit of playfulness. This is not the time for trudging or marching, but for skipping. Sing a song, make a goofy face, and recognize that the conscious universe throws you off course at times to remind you that surprises can be gifts from the invisible realms. Dalmatian stone spirit is calling you to lighten up and open yourself to playing with the possibilities. Who knows what you will discover as you join in on the fun? The conscious universe is not here to trick you, but to help you, for you are deeply loved. Meditation with Dalmatian stone can assist us in finding the place within that remembers what joy feels like. It teaches that it is necessary. It teaches that it is necessary to throw off the shackles of our burdens now and then. That is wild that I was getting that imagery in my head, and that's literally what this card is saying. After all, we are not just here to survive, and this stone asks us to dance, sing, laugh, play, and enjoy life, savoring what it feels like to be alive. I love ending on that message for you, Pile 2. That is so beautiful. I truly hope you enjoy these next 3 months because they look to be very beautiful and fun for you. And this is where I'm going to be leaving your reading. Thank you so much for allowing me to do this reading for you, and thank you so much for being here. If this reading resonated or you liked it, like the video and subscribe if you haven't already. I'm sending you lots of love and light, and I'll catch you in another video or reading. Bye. Hello Pile 3, how are you doing? Let me know in the comment section below. You've chosen this beautiful opalite heart, and I'm going to keep your crystal right here. And if you're ready to dive into fully embodying your Empress energy, the Empress codes is in the description box. The link for it is in the description box. Check it out if you're interested. That is a journey of embodying your divine feminine essence, coming into connection with your spirit, and really embodying that feminine energy within you. So if that sounds like something you'd be interested in, again, the link is in the description box. And if you wanted to book personal tarot readings or coaching calls, the link for that is also in the description box. In the intro, I showed you the reading breakdown, and I also explained that after shuffling your tarot deck, I took the top card off of it, and that's what I'm using here. So this is going to be the overarching theme and main focus of the next 3 months, well, half of April, the remaining half of April, May, and June. So we have prosperity here, the root chakra, we have tapas, and cleansing with the Page of Cups. I'm going to lay this all out and I'll be right back. So Pile 3, I've laid out your cards here. The first thing that I'm getting is that over these next 3 months, there seems to be a heavy focus on your finances and your material world. I also feel like you're going to be building a lot of healthy financial habits, or just healthy habits when it comes to where you invest your time and your money and energy. And the other thing that I'm noticing here is that the Page of Cups is typically number 11. It's not actually numbered, but it comes right after the 10s, so it's associated with the number 11. And we have Gemini here, which is reminding me of 11, 1, and 1. And then on top of that, in this card, you have these candles, it looks like, that look like 2 pillars, kind of reminding me of this Gemini card here, and then the number 2 on this root chakra. So there seems to be a lot of synchronicities. So over these next 3 months, I feel like you're really going to be noticing a lot of synchronicities, specifically around the number 11 or around doubles, like seeing doubles of something. And for many of you, I feel like this is coming up because I think you're starting to learn what these signs mean. Because if in the past you've seen a bunch of signs, you didn't really know what they meant or how to interpret them. I feel like over the next 3 months, you're going to start to understand these signs a little bit better. You're going to start to learn what they mean for you and how you relate to them. And so when you see the signs, it's more clear like what it's referring to or how to interpret it, rather than just seeing the sign and then kind of being confused, like what is it supposed to mean. I feel like you're gaining more clarity on that. But I also wanted to mention that I feel like over these next 3 months, you're really going to be working on rooting and on being grounded and working with your root chakra. I feel like your root chakra, because it's coming up here, is being highlighted over these next 3 months. And the root chakra does deal with our money and our finances. So the fact that you have prosperity coming out as well is pretty synchronistic. So I do feel like, again, like I mentioned, there's a heavy emphasis on finances and money. But just in general, it seems like you're going to be really working on your root chakra, on grounding. Maybe you're spending more time in nature. Maybe you're spending, you could even be doing like root chakra meditations and things like that. And I also feel like by tapping into your root chakra, this work that you're doing over these next 3 months, you're going to start to see what you need in order to be filled up. Like what needs of yours are truly important and need to be met for you to feel full, and how can you balance those things. I feel like you're going to be focusing on that over these next 3 months. And with cleansing here, you could also, like, that seems to be a general theme that's coming through here for all of the piles, that there's this cleansing going on. So also over these next 3 months, I feel like you're going to be going through this process of cleansing, and maybe that's cleaning up your diet, maybe that's cleaning out your home. Like spring cleaning could even be something you're heavily focusing on. I'm hearing cleaning out your wardrobe for some of you. The clothes that you have that you no longer wear, that no longer resonate with you. I feel like you're clearing out things that no longer resonate with you in your physical world. So this isn't just emotional or energetic. I feel like a lot of this is happening on a physical level. Clearing out physical things that no longer support you, resonate with you, or are necessary and have just been taking up space. I feel like you're going to be creating a lot of space over these next 3 months. So let's see what else is coming through here. Some of you could also, we have the 3 of Pentacles at the bottom, be working on a project with somebody or working with somebody to do this clearing out. Maybe you and your family are really determined, or you and your friends, if you live with friends, like whoever you live with, you and that person or those people could be really determined to clean things out and just like make your space a little bit more minimalistic or a little bit lighter. Like minimalism is coming through here. So let's see, Spirit, what is happening in the rest of April for pile 3? What is happening in the rest of April for pile 3? We have the King of Cups and the Knight of Pentacles. I feel like that with the Knight of Pentacles, specifically this Knight of Pentacles with this bee on it and the honeycomb, I feel like you're really focused. The rest of April is you focusing in on your work. Maybe it's in the rest of April that you're doing this cleansing and clearing these things out, and you're really focused and like you're determined, but it seems like you're not sacrificing your health for that, which is a good thing. That's a beautiful thing. It seems like you're still prioritizing your emotional needs and pouring into yourself the way you need to, but you're also making steady movement towards a goal. I also feel like it's in the rest of April, and maybe this will trail on, we'll see in May and June, but it's in the remainder of April where you're really starting to hone in on the messages that you receive, on the synchronicities that you receive and what they actually mean. Like, I feel like it's in this month that you're starting to get more clarity on what those messages mean, on what the signs and synchronicities that you've been shown mean. And for some of you, this is coming through strong. For some of you, the rest of April, I feel like you're really figuring out your purpose. and you're gaining so much more clarity on your purpose and your direction in life and what you want to build and create for yourself. Like, I'm also hearing like the legacy that you want to leave behind, or like that might be only applicable to some of you, but there seems to be this focus on like, what do I want to leave behind? What do I want to do? What do I want my purpose to be? I feel like you're gaining a lot of clarity on that. So take what applies, obviously, because this is a general reading. So I like to point out like all the things that are coming through here. And for some of you, I'm also seeing with this King of Cups and the Knight of Pentacles that possibly at work you could be getting more responsibility, or like you're up leveling in your positioning at work, and maybe that's what's helping your finances. Like we were saying, maybe that's why there's a greater focus on finances. But sometimes this can indicate like you're moving up, you're moving from a knight to a king. Or some of you could even be retiring, or like taking a break from work. That is also coming through here. So just again, take what applies to your situation. And the last thing I'm hearing is that for some of you, you could be taking things slowly in work, or taking a step back to focus more on yourself and allowing things to be a little bit slower in other areas, like again in work, in other areas around your life, to take time to pour into you and focus on the care and attention that you need. So let's see what's happening in the month of May. Spirit, what is happening for pile 3 in the month of May? We have the Page of Swords. Oh, I'm just going to keep it like this. The first thing that's coming to me is that you could be learning a new skill in the month of May. Oops. This could sometimes even be going back to school, or there's like a heavy emphasis around school if you're currently still in school. Like it seems like you might be focusing on schoolwork, and if that's the case, then I feel like the rest of April may have been figuring out how to balance things out for yourself, how to create a system that works. You may have had to put in more time to figuring out what you need in order to complete your work in a way that feels still like you're not being drained fully or anything like that, but you're still able to get your work done. I hope that's making sense. It's like in the rest of April, you could be figuring out how you can get your work done in a way where you're not overworking yourself and so being depleted, but also not overly focusing on pouring into yourself to where your responsibilities are being placed to the side. Like I feel like you're finding that balance here, or you're figuring out how to create that. And in the month of May, it seems like there's a heavier focus on like learning and growing, and maybe even figuring out how to balance your finances. I feel like you might be doing a lot of that in the month of May, because we do have this 6 of Pentacles here, and the 6 of Pentacles typically shows like a person with scales and 2 people kneeling in front of them, and they're like giving. So it's like giving and receiving. So you could be giving and receiving information. You could even have a really important conversation during the month of May. That also kind of came up for pile 1. So I wonder if there are some messages there for you. But I feel like you could be having an important conversation in the month of May, or you could be learning something new. And what I'm hearing is that this doesn't necessarily have to be learning something new in terms of a skill or something. I feel like you might be learning some new information about somebody or about a certain situation, and that that could help you gain more clarity, or it just clears things up for you. Because I'm feeling like the month of May is a little bit clouded. So there seems to be a little bit of cloudiness in the month of May. Like I'm literally seeing cloudiness in my mind right now. So I wonder if there's something that you need to gain clarity on, and that the month of May is you figuring that out. You moving past the clouds to figure that out. I'm going to come back to this if there's any more information that comes through, but let's see what's happening in the month of June. Spirit, what is happening for pile 3 in the month of June? Whoa. Well, we have the 8 of Pentacles. So I do feel like in the month of June, you're going to be like being consistent and working on something. Like it seems like your work and your material world is really a priority over these next 3 months, but specifically in the rest of April and June. So we have the Wheel of Fortune and the 9 of Swords. It is wow. It is so fascinating that I was mentioning this like double energy coming through, and here you have another, like for this for the remaining of April you got 2 cards, and now for June you have 2 cards, and for all the other piles, for which is pile 2 and pile 1, they only got 1 card for each. So it's interesting that you have so many like double energies coming through here. I'm actually getting a lot of different messages with this. So the month of June, the first thing that I'm getting is there's going to be a really important or big decision, it seems like, that you'll be making in this month. A one that you've been thinking about, that you've been sleeping on or like processing, that one that's been very important to you, one that you've been considering for a while, it seems like. But if that doesn't apply to you, I feel like this is like things changing around for you. So if you've been noticing that it's been difficult to like process things, or like maybe you've been struggling with some heaviness on the mind, or you've had a busy mind, or you've just had a lot going on, I feel like in the month of June things are changing around for you. I feel like you're starting to figure out how best to deal with any overactive thoughts or any anxious thoughts. It's been a little bit difficult to communicate this properly. I feel like in the month of June you're clearing up any fogs or any confusion, and gaining some clarity, because when as I got the card for May, I started to feel more and more fogginess in my mind, more and more clouds coming in and things like that. So I feel like in June you're really dealing with that, dealing with any mental fog or any lack of clarity, turning things around for yourself. I'm also hearing that you're going to be getting a little more sleep, or that you're going to be focusing on getting good rest and good sleep during June. I feel like that's going to be important to you. And so while you're still working, because we have the 8 of Pentacles here, and you're dedicating your time and energy to your work, you're also starting to be more open to getting the sleep and rest that you need. But there does seem to be a change here that's happening. And maybe, again, like I said, it's one that you've already been planning, and it's just going into effect in June. Like you'll finally see, I'm thinking of like, I don't know why school stuff keeps coming up, but this could apply to anything. I'm thinking of like a student who's wanting to change their major and has been thinking about it for a while, and maybe has been taking classes for the new major, but the change hasn't really gone into effect yet, and it goes into effect in June. Like they officially change their major in June, even though they've been working towards that. So apply that to your situation, but it seems like in June, whatever you've been working towards is taking effect. So for some of you, if maybe you applied for a job in the remainder of April, you apply for a new job, and it's something that you've been working towards, and you maybe don't hear much back in May, I feel like in June you're gonna have your answer. You're gonna know whether you got that position or not. But yeah, overall, with your energy, pile 3, I'm feeling like over these next 3 months, you're heavily focused on being consistent, on showing up, on taking steady actions, and really just grounding, and it seems like you're going to be putting in a lot of work and effort towards something. And your material world, that seems to be a really heavy focus for you. And also I want to say on reducing anything that has been causing you difficulties in sleeping, maybe changing your habits so that you can get better rest. Let's see what final message Spirit has for you. Spirit, what final message do you have for pile 3? What final message? Blue lace agate. Usually blue lace agate has to do with our throat chakra, about communication, things like that. And it's also interesting that you were drawn to this opalite heart, which is blue, and blue usually deals with our throat chakra, our third eye, and things like that. So I wonder if you're going to be opening up communication, or this is Spirit's message to you to open up, and any struggles that you've been dealing with, maybe it's time to open up to others about that, and in people you trust and in a safe environment, in a way that feels safe to you. But this might be a sign to let people in to your struggles so that maybe they can help you, or they can offer you guidance or help or assistance in any way that they can. But trying to do it all on your own might drain you. So we have peaceful acceptance, stress-free, non-attachment, freedom from unnecessary dramas. Although crystals seem solid and permanent, all things on this earth change over time, even the minerals and the rocks. Transformation can be slow and nearly imperceptible, but we are always changing. Our lives flow like a river, slowly or quickly, but always in motion. And that's a good thing. The appearance of blue lace agate, Spirit, calls for you to embrace the possibility of change without stress. You are not too old, too late, too stuck in your ways, too anything. You are enough, and you will have help as you dare to be different and step into a new destiny, finding your purpose with peace in your heart instead of living according to the old patterns probably created long before you even thought about your habits and belief systems. Why hold on to a past that causes you stress and anxiety? It's already changing anyways. Impermanence is the nature of everything, and the conscious universe has so many ideas for how to help you be fulfilled, balanced, and joyful. Blue lace agate encourages you to relax and go with the flow. It opens the throat chakra and assists in clear yet gentle communication. Meditation with this stone can assist in slowing thought, clearing the mind, and connecting with angels and guides. I feel like this message is especially for May and June for you, that things may get a bit chaotic, or not even chaotic, but busy during those times, and it may be difficult to really hear your own thoughts and clear your mind. You may just have a lot going on for you. So I think it's really important during these months in specific to come back to yourself, your meditation practice, something to help clear your mind, because I was feeling a lot of fogginess as I tapped into May and June as well. So that I feel like will be really important for you. But pile 3, this is where I'm going to leave your reading. Thank you so much for allowing me to do this reading for you, and thank you so much for being here. If this reading resonated with you, like the video and subscribe if you haven't already. I'm sending you lots of love and light, and I'll catch you in another video reading. Bye. Hello pile 4, how are you doing? Let me know in the comment section below. You've chosen this shivling, and I'm going to keep your crystal, well, it's not really a crystal, but I'm going to keep it right here. And if you are ready to embody your full Empress energy, Empress Codes is for you. The link is in the description box if you're interested. That journey looks like embodying your divine feminine, connecting back to your spirit, and in a way that is unique to you. So if that sounds like something you're interested, again, the link is in the description box. And if you wanted to book personal tarot readings or coaching calls, the link for that is also in the description box. I mentioned in the intro, also if you want a reading breakdown, it's in the intro, but I mentioned in there that I shuffled the tarot deck and pulled the top card off to get this, and this is going to be the overarching theme and main focus of your next 3 months, which actually is just the rest of April, May, and June. So We have Judgment, Harmony, and it came out reversed. We have Radical Expansion, Shiva, and Affection. So I'm gonna lay this all out and I'll be right back. Okay, and the first thing that I wanted to mention is that when I was shuffling your cards, I had no idea that this was gonna come out, that the Shiva card was gonna come out. And when it did, it was so wild to me because it flipped out. So like sometimes when I shuffle, the cards don't flip, in which case I don't look at them, but this did. And I had already chosen to put the Shivling on this pile. So like the synchronicity with that was just weird. Like it was just wild to me. So if you, oh, I should probably cover this. Even if you don't believe in or resonate with Shiv, Bhagwan or Shiva, this could just be that energy that's coming through. That is the divine masculine. So I wonder if some of you are tuning into or connecting with your masculine or with a specific masculine over these next 3 months. You might be connecting to your masculine energy, healing any masculine wounds from your past. Even with Judgment, like you may be having a breakthrough with that, or releasing yourself and freeing yourself from any emotional baggage that may have been caused from a wounded masculine energy. And I feel like with this Harmony card, because it came out reversed, sometimes when we're going through changes or when we're upgrading and we're because it does feel like with this Radical Expansion that you're upgrading in some way or you're expanding out in some way, and as that happens, we may be in a period of disharmony, which is not a bad thing always. Like when you're moving out and you're expanding and you're going through like that type of change, or when there's changes happening, even if they're good changes, that disharmony can sometimes happen. And it's not disharmony because something is going wrong. It's disharmony because you haven't yet adjusted to or come into alignment with these changes that are happening. So I feel like in these next 3 months, you're really going to be going through this period of coming into alignment, but it may come after a period of like disharmony. And again, I don't want to say that the disharmony is bad. I feel like this disharmony is probably necessary or just like a natural reaction of the expansion that you might be experiencing, or like the growth and changes that might be coming into your life. So it's not a bad disharmony. I want to make that clear. I feel like it's a natural result of what's happening in your life, and it's a short-term thing until you come into alignment and until you like are able to balance things out. In your pile, there also does seem to be this like underlying message of coming out of the cold, getting the affection of somebody, having a breakthrough moment, and like relationship stuff is slightly coming through here as well. So over these next 3 months, this could be you giving yourself affection, pouring into yourself. This could be you, like we said, healing your masculine energy, giving your masculine energy what it needs in order to feel respected, fulfilled, like all the things. And also this could be your masculine energy giving to you, so you do feel harmonized as you move through these changes, or you feel safe as you're moving through changes and expansion, whatever it is for you. So we have Shiva. You are truly on a yogic path. Shiva is referred to as Adi Yogi, the first yogi ever. He attained enlightenment and abandoned himself in an ecstatic dance atop the Himalayas. When his ecstasy went beyond movement, he became utterly still. People could not understand his switch between ecstatic movement and stillness and thought him mad. However, 7 students wanted to learn how he was moving past physical limitations. This is how he began teaching yoga. Shiva planted the seed of yoga into the human mind. Pulling Shiva represents moving past the limitations from your society, body, mind, or ego. It represents doing the inner work to evolve. It is also a call to service, to teach others your wisdom so they too can be liberated. This might be a sign too that over these next 3 months you might start to teach others, or like You might start to work with others more. Somehow teaching others is coming through here. And being a guide almost, people might want to start coming to you. You might notice that in the next 3 months, even if it's just family members and friends and things like that, like they may be coming to you to see how you've made the changes in your life. Like how can they do that? And for a lot of you, I'm feeling like you're really tapping into your masculine energy, regardless of gender. We all have both masculine and feminine, and it's important to be tuned into both, otherwise you become imbalanced. And for you, I feel like you're really tapping into your masculine energy, and it's helping you to maybe move out of any disharmony that you've been experiencing. Or it might just feel a little bit strange at first because you may not have been used to having a healthy masculine energy, and that could also be something that you're working through over these next 3 months. Let's take your tarot. And we do have the 5 of Pentacles here at the bottom. So I feel like you may also be working through any financial difficulties. Or again, like I said, you're coming out of the cold with somebody or with a certain situation. So let's see, Spirit, what is happening for pile 4 in the rest of April? What is happening for pile 4 in the rest of April? We have the Hierophant. Some of you, this could, obviously only take this if it applies. For some of you, this could indicate marriage, but for others of you, and we do have the 2 of Swords at the bottom, this could also be gaining clarity on a situation like a marriage or a partnership of some sort. There's like partnership seems to be coming through here again. So I feel like you're gaining clarity on that. For others of you, if that doesn't apply, I feel like this is like for the rest of April, you're really gaining clearer and more a deeper connection to your faith, to your own unique faith. And it seems like you're strengthening that connection. You could also be, again, like we said, teaching, or people are coming to you for advice or for guidance. And this could be on a small scale, on a big scale, whatever it is. People could be coming to you, and you might notice that you're giving out more advice during this month or during the rest of April. Or for some of you, you could be going to a mentor or somebody seeking guidance for an issue you've been struggling with or something along those lines. Take what applies. The Hierophant is also associated with Taurus, and I haven't really felt called to mention any zodiac signs, but the reason I'm saying that is because there's also Taurus on this affection card. So I wonder if you guys may have significant Taurus placements, or if somebody else important in your life does, or if Taurus season might be significant as well. So let's see what's happening in the month of May for pile 4. What is happening in the month of May for pile 4? Spirit, what is happening in the month of May for pile 4? You might even be getting some news that's really important or significant in the rest of April. Like there might be some important news that's coming through. We have the Fool being reversed with the 9 of Swords. One of the first things that I'm getting is that in May, anything that you just started, or you may have just started a new chapter, or there may be some new things going on, like we said, with this disharmony and the expansion in the month of May. I feel like that may be when you start to notice some of this disharmony where you're trying to figure things out. You may have a little more responsibilities, or you might notice that your time is less. It seems like there may be a little less time for sleep and things like that. If that doesn't apply, I feel like in the month of May, you're really figuring out what is working for you and what isn't. I feel like you're going through period of introspection, and you're figuring out what you need to release in order to feel a little bit lighter, a little less heavy in the mind, because we do also have the Hermit here. So I'm feeling like in the month of May, you're really figuring out what you need to release, or if there have been any like decisions that you need to make, or any anxious thoughts, or anything that's been weighing on your mind. I feel like you're really gaining the clarity. You're sitting with yourself in the month of May, and you're figuring that out. I think you're taking the time to finally deal with those things so they don't keep lingering around. And even for some of you, with this Fool being reversed, this could be about working through any past pains, or finally letting go of the past, of recognizing that like it's done and moving on from that. And this month of May might be really important to that release. So let's see what's happening in the rest of, or what's happening in June. Spirit, what is happening in the month of June for pile 4? What is happening in the month of June for pile 4? Thank you. I'm feeling called to take one more. So we have the Ace of Wands being reversed. Let's take one more. Okay, one more. Whoa. So the 10 of Wands. We have all this that came up too. Wow, we have the Emperor and the Empress, Death, the World, and the 10 of Swords. I'm not going to take that, but I do feel like June is going to be a bit more busy for you, especially internally. I think you're going to be making a lot of shifts internally in the month of June, and you're going to be going through a lot of stuff, but I also feel like externally you have a lot going on as well. And so maybe it's like this month of June is like figuring out how to manage all of that, how to balance all of that. Like we said, you may short-term experience some disharmony, but that's not a bad thing. It naturally does occur as you're expanding and changing and things are shifting around you. Like this disharmony is in the short term pretty normal. So I do feel like in this month of June, it may be a little bit heavier. You may be releasing quite a bit of stuff, but I feel like it's a release to return to a fresh new beginning, a fresh new start. And even if that fresh new start does not happen in June, because we do have the Ace of Wands being reversed here, I don't know if it'll necessarily happen in June. I feel like this fresh new start is on the horizon, and it's all the work that you're doing to release these baggages that you've been carrying, the weight that's helping this to come through. But I also feel like in June, you're starting to learn that you don't always have to carry everything, that you don't always have to carry all the baggage, that you don't always have to be holding on to every burden. So like the example that's coming to me is that there was this video I saw about this professor asking his students like the weight of a cup or the water in it or something like that. And he was explaining how it doesn't matter how much water is actually in the cup. If you hold the cup long enough, even if the cup is empty, it's going to start to feel heavy. And I feel like that's applicable here in the month of June. You're starting to see that you don't really have to carry everything, all the weight, all the burden. You don't have to shoulder everything, that you can allow other people in, and that you can let some things go. There's like a huge letting go process that I feel like you're going to be going through. And it doesn't seem like that's just happening in June. It seems like you're going through that like over these next 3 months. And that might be because maybe some of you actually are getting married and you're going to have to move. And so you have to let go of things. And maybe you've acquired a lot of things that you're not going to need as you move into this new situation. But for others of you, this could be like maybe you are moving to a new position, or you're coming out of old habits and old patterns and stuff like that. And it might feel uncomfortable for your mind, your body, your subconscious to accept all the changes that you've made, and that might be something that you're working through. So like apply it to your situation, but I definitely get the feeling that the month or the next 3 months for you is a little more inward focused and not so much focusing on the external. Like even if you have external responsibilities, it seems like a lot of the things that are happening for you are happening internally. For those of you who this is like you deepening your faith with yourself in the month of April, in the remaining month of April, I feel like through this connection to yourself, or through this connection and deepening of your faith, you're going to start to see very clearly what you can release and what you no longer need to like hold on to. And I feel like you're going to start to feel more safe to release it and be free from it. So let's get your final message from Spirit. But I am also feeling like you're going to start to have more clarity in your own intuition and like your own consciousness. I feel like you're going to start to bring more awareness to your consciousness and your subconscious. And I feel like you're really starting to understand that and understand why you do certain things or where your patterns are coming from. I feel like these next 3 months are really honing in on that and gaining a much deeper understanding of yourself. So Spirit, what final message do you have for pile 4? What final message do you have for pile 4? We have, this is a lot. Let's shuffle again. Can I just get one? Clearly Spirit does not want to give just one card. We have Petalite and Apache Tears. So Apache Tears is actually a type of obsidian. So obsidian might be important, keeping it around to help protect your energies as you move through this. And especially if you're working with others, this message did come up for one of the other piles, I can't remember, but if you are working with others, then it's important to make sure you are cleansing and protecting your energy. But especially during times when you're going through a change, and even if the change is good, even if you're going through like good changes, there can always be this like part of you that is feeling sad for leaving the old behind. And I feel like Spirit is encouraging you to honor that. You don't have to dwell in that, you don't have to live in that, but honor that, because it will help you feel a lot lighter and freer as you move into this new era or this new beginning or whatever newness is on the horizon for you. Letting go of grief, recovering from the past, releasing pain so old wounds heal. Before we came to this planet, our souls agreed to experience both love and loss in this lifetime, along with the pleasures and pains of being in our bodies, so that we might experience a sense of purpose and fulfillment, and find our destiny. There is great beauty in being broken open, for a heart that has fully expanded with grief is one that truly understands that rejection is God's protection. Faith in something better coming our way will set the wheels in motion for attracting that which we most deserve. Often we simply cannot recognize that there is a far better plan at work than our own. The message of Apache Tear Spirit is not to fear or repress your emotions. Release them through your body so you can prepare yourself to heal from the heartache and receive all that the conscious universe has in store for your pleasure and happiness. I'm getting a message that if some of you recently went through a breakup, then maybe I do have a full breakup reading on my channel. But maybe taking some time to heal from that and release that could be very beneficial to you. Apache tears are a translucent, water-smooth type of obsidian, invaluable in helping us process loss. Carrying an Apache tear while grieving can assist us by providing a focal point and encouraging us to release painful emotions. Once the grieving process feels complete, the stone can be buried in the earth, allowing the emotions to be transmuted. And that is actually really important. When you first begin, or when you use a stone or a crystal to release a lot of heavy emotions into, sometimes it's better to let that crystal go, or let that thing go. Either put it in the water if it can go in the ocean, or bury it. Like, allow those energies to be transmuted, and it symbolically helps you let go of everything that you work through. So if you have been holding on to crystals from your past that you may have used to help you do some heavy clearing, I feel like this is your message to really release that and let those crystals go. Petalite, witnessing the observer and ability to detach the impersonal quality of the universe. Sometimes life feels too close for comfort. Decisions are difficult to make when you're taking life so personally. This is particularly true for empaths and sensitives. When Petalite spirit arrives, it's here to give you the ability to step back and observe with detachment and neutrality. There is a place within you that allows you to observe without emotion, see the world with the perspective of acceptance, trying to change not what you see as external to you, but rather the lens through which you perceive it. Now is the time to step back and observe what is in front of you. Are you reacting to something that is triggering you, or are you overwhelmed by the sheer amount of information that you need to process and the time required to sort things out? Petalite spirit reminds you that a clear, detached manner will empower you to understand the true nature of what is in front of you now, and to take your next steps in your own time. Petalite is a stone that assists us in learning how to be the observer. Meditating on, carrying, or wearing this stone allows us to step out of emotional reactivity and into being a compassionate witness. It allows us to rise above emotion and observe from a place of non-attachment. So pile 4, this is where I'm going to leave your reading. Thank you so much for allowing me to do this reading for you, and thank you so much for being here. If this reading resonated or you liked it, like the video and subscribe if you haven't already. I'm sending you lots of love and light, and I'll catch you in another video or reading. Bye.